Okay, we are live. Okay, we are
Fantastic. Yeah.
live. Absolutely. I'm just we have Serena here and KM Johnson, okay, for starters. How
Nice.
you all doing? Okay. David Morris, thank you very much. We're going to wait for a few minutes and see if we can get some more people in. So, Michael Winter we have here with us. So, would you like to go ahead, Michael, and introduce yourself and tell us what you do here on Substack?
Sure. Not as much as I'd like to be doing, that's for sure. But my name is Michael Winters. I live in northwestern New Jersey. I've been on Substack since July, really sharing content around personal development, focused on goal getting and sharing some tips and tricks, things I've learned along the way from some of my heroes like Bob Proctor, Mike Dooley, Wayne Dyer, Lisa Nichols. Some of these people really influenced me and pulled me out of a hole that, at one point in my life, I didn't even know I was in. So to be able to now, having the benefit of years behind me, I'm starting to share some of that information in short form articles. And on Thursdays, I usually put out an audio video. So not a video of me, but just an audio with some video segments, a little bit less filtered than maybe the article is, and a little funnier, I think. But you can be the judge of that.
I really liked your work, okay? And so it resonated with me. One thing, I liked your voice. It was very calm. It had a calming effect on me. And going through so much trauma, I'm like, okay, how can I find some peace? How can I get some serenity? And so when I come across it, I listen to it because, like I said, it soothes me. It helps me to calm down, come back to my breath, and helps to regulate my nervous system. Okay.
Fantastic.
And
Thank you.
for that, I really appreciate you. Okay. And so when you and I got to talking, we started talking in notes. And then
Right.
you decided to join. And then I'm like, oh, wow, it's something about him that just resonates with me. The spirit was talking to me. So I'm like, yeah, we gotta have a conversation. Okay. And see how we can help people to uh, progress in their career and in their lives. Okay.
Exactly.
So yeah. So talk to us a little bit more about your journey, okay? From where you
Yeah. I
came
mean,
from.
a long way. So like this is not my full-time gig. I'm still working full-time at my day job. So I really do this on evenings and weekends and I try to, play the game. I think, if I look back over the arc of my life, 2002 was probably like the pivotal year. So that's, many years ago. And that was my low point. And I think that was the point where I started searching for answers and I reached out and I got, some professional help and counseling and really started moving my life in a different direction. And the one thing that eluded me was I could never figure out how, like, why were some people so successful and seeming to be getting it all done and I wasn't, and so not only did I go to counseling to kind of help understand how to better navigate stress and depression, I started reading and I started getting involved in a lot of personal development. And to me, that's what started to unlock the doors. And, it is a journey. And I think, we are led to believe through everything today that it's not, right. That you just wake up and boy, if you think positive thoughts and you hold, a good vision that life will happen and just, and miraculously one day you wake up and it's just not how it works, right? It takes time, it takes energy, it takes investment, it takes focus, it takes failure. You need to be open to all of those things to expand your life to where you want to go. And so that's what I did. And so just to kind of put it all in perspective, from 2002 to 2013, um, it was a mess. So I'm not going to say that by 2013 my life took off, but what happened in 2013 is I managed to sort out my professional career and things were moving in that direction. My personal life was still like, not good. And I remember at the end of December, I was just like I can't continue the way I'm continuing, right? If I really want a healthy relationship with someone else, and so I got really clear about my goal. If you know anything about Bob Proctor, it's you've got to know exactly what you want, and I just put it out there, like this is what I want. I want to be with someone who's going to call me out on my BS, who's going to, love me for who I am. And so, July of that following year, that's who I met, and that's the woman I'm married to today. And we've been married 11 years just last week. So, and now I can say, so then you look at the period between 2013 to today, right, which is a 12-year period. I'm not going to say that the relationship has totally changed my life, but the addition of her presence in my life made me a better person, and we have built a life together. It's hard sometimes not to, look at others and go, why are we here? But we're here. And what we've managed to do in 10 years has just been amazing. And so I wanted to start sharing that. And so I started writing Substack articles, and I try to, I don't get into the depth of who I am on those. Maybe I should do more of that, but it's more of like lessons learned along the way. So, I hope that helps. And that's sort of like, my short story, in terms of how I got here. And and it hasn't been easy. It's work. And yet when you look back, what we've been able to do in 10 years, like I keep reminding my wife when she gets frustrated, I go, look at what we've done in 10 years. Like, look at how we've grown our wealth. Look at how we've, built a home. Look at how we go on vacations now every year. We couldn't even do that the first 2 years, right? So it's amazing, what you're able to accomplish when you create a vision and you put your mind to it. And that's just really what I want to share. And for those who are willing to listen and who are open to receive, that's why I'm on Substack. I'm not, I could care less about the number of subscribers I have. I could care less about, the number of likes I get in the day. Um, to me, it's about the content is there. And when those who need it find it, ta-da,
You've done your job, right?
that's it. That's it.
Wow. Okay. Well, myself, I have had a troubled life, okay, starting with my childhood. So I I put myself into personal development, okay, trying to figure out the best way I can get out of the situation that I found myself in. That was educating myself, okay, and understanding how to build genuine relationships with people because I worked with the military. I worked with the military for 39 years. And as you know, you can't get anything done at work unless you work with people, okay?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you have to find a way. You have to find the bridge, okay? A common ground, okay? We have this mission, okay? How can you help me? How can I help you? Okay? There is no one sided thing in the military. If so, that means you have to leave. We work together as a team here, okay? Whether you like me or not is irrelevant. We have a mission to meet, okay?
Right.
We have to build this infrastructure. And you tell me what part you're going to play. I'm going to tell you the part I'm going to play, and we're going to figure it out and we're going to get this done, okay? Because we have
Right.
a time limit. We have a time limit, okay? And that's what we have to be about our business, okay? So,
Yeah.
what you talked about at the beginning is clarity of vision, okay? And that is our northern star, okay? That
Hmm.
keeps us aligned in the direction we need to go because there's going to be noise all the time. We can't eliminate it. So, what can I do instead? I can focus on my mission, okay?
Right.
Um, So, with that, also, we have to be in alignment. We have to be in alignment with our values, alignment who we are and what we want. And it sounds like you accomplished that.
Yeah, that's called congruence. And so if you want to really understand where you're at, here's the things that need to be aligned um, with your vision, your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions. And so you'll typically hear someone say thoughts, feelings, and actions. Well, your feelings, you express your feelings through your word and your deed, right? So you really need to be cognizant of those things. And if any one of those things is out of alignment, you're going to be you'll be stuck, and you can be frustrated. And that's where I was, right? I was stuck and I was frustrated. I had no idea how I got to where I got. I had no idea. And yet I wasn't even checking my own language on a daily basis. And the words I used were so, no, I'm not going to say destructive. They were, but they took my power away. Like I felt helpless. And so I would use those types of words. I tend to use a lot of self-deprecation because I'm human, but there's a point where self-deprecation becomes self-sabotage, and you have to really be careful of that, right? Self-deprecation is where you can laugh at yourself, acknowledge mistake, and move on and learn from it. self-sabotage is where you just keep getting in your own way. So look at those four things and go, here's really what I want. And then you really got to go, okay, am I taking action to move toward that? Yes. Is that action in alignment with how I feel and the words I use to describe it? Yes. Then you're on the right track and you'll have the right feelings. Um, if one is out of alignment, check it because you can change it. And that's the thing that we miss. Well, I can't change how I feel. No, you can. You can. If you feel like crap, you can change that. How do you change it? You change it with your feeling, your words and your actions. Do things that make you feel good. Say things that make you feel good. Interact with people who make you feel good. You can change how you feel. Typically, the reason why we feel bad is we're in a state of reaction versus response, and we feel like things are outside of our control. So the moment that we allow ourselves to go into reactive mode, we are losing the game because now we've given the control away, right? So control comes from within. And this was the hardest lesson for me to learn is I always tried to change the world from the outside in. Margaret, you need to change. I'm not the problem. You need to change. My ex-wife needed to change. My kids needed to change. My parents needed all these people in my life. You're the ones who are screwed up. If you would just change, my life would be so much better. And then you wake up when they go, wait a minute, right? The counselor holds up the mirror. He holds up the mirror and he says, Mike, have you ever look in the mirror and realize that, it's probably the person who's looking back at you that's the opportunity? And from that moment on, right, I started to check everything. But the learning about the connectivity, right, that's Proctor. And you even said it. I can't remember. I didn't write it down, but I wanted to write. You had said something when you were speaking about understanding who you are and where you are on that path, and then keeping yourself, moving. It'll come back to me when it does. I'll hit it. But I think for me, those were the biggest things. And I feel good about where I'm at. I feel good about where I'm going. And as you could tell, I'm a little bit, I'm looking down the road toward retirement, and that's great, but I've got a lot to accomplish between now and then. So pretty much where I'm at.
Knowing that you have to protect your peace, you have to protect your mental well-being, okay?
Hmm.
Because you have a goal, you want to get to that goal, and you want to be at your best self when you get there. Okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's really an offensive position, right? It's not, and I don't mean to we don't offend people, but it's like we tend to spend our life in a defensive posture, and when you spend your life in a defensive posture, you're just shielding yourself, and you can't really move forward because you're deflecting everything coming at you. So you've got to pick the right offense and do it in a meaningful way so that you're not tripping over and hurting others, right? It's not about hurting others. It's about taking care of yourself. Someone the other day left a comment on one of the notes I posted about, well, if you're making good decisions for you and it supports your vision, what about the people that, it might not align with, or what if the action that you need to take hurts someone else? And I think where you need to look there is intent, right? So if my intent in helping myself get healthy means pulling myself out of a situation that might hurt others. And that's exactly what I had to do. And I'm writing a piece. It's going to be high on Mike. It's probably going to be out in, I don't know, a few weeks. I'm editing it. But I think, you know, when you make that decision, you're doing it for your well-being. Yes, it's going to hurt others, but your intention isn't to hurt them, right? Like my intention was to get better. And that was the only avenue that I could take. So did it hurt others? Yes, it did. And that's sad. And I'll live with that, right? I carry that with me. Uh, but I'm a much better person for those people today than I was then. And that's the win, right? So if you're hurt, if you're going to create hurt for someone else or the people around you, and you're doing it with intent, like I'm mad at you, so now I'm going to hurt you, that's not good, right? That's not what we're talking about here. But if you're moving yourself forward in life and learning and growing. And that means stepping back from certain relationships or people, and that hurts them. You know, you're not doing it with intent. And so therefore, you know what? Give yourself some grace because yes, it'll hurt. But at the end of it, are you a better person for them? And my answer is yes. And so I carry that proudly. Did I want to do it? No. It was the only thing I could do. And once everybody understood that, parents included, it was It was a hard road for a while, but once they got it and they saw the shift, once they saw the shift in me, then right, everything came about.
I'm glad that you talked about that because being abandoned as a child at 3 years old and then having to go live with my abusive father, okay, who beat me and my stepmother, okay. So I have trust issues and I tell people that, okay. And if you cross one of my values, one is loyalty, I am not forgiving, okay? And because, like I said, of everything that I've been through, but my daughter and I talked about this. Hurt people hurt people. Now, just because they hurt me and I hurt them back, do you think that makes me feel good? No, it doesn't. That makes me feel really bad because I've been hurt and I don't want to hurt anybody, okay? And I usually warn people, don't do this, okay? But the bottom line is I have to be responsible for my actions, accountable.
Mhm.
Okay? Just because somebody hurts me don't mean I have to hurt them back. Okay?
Exactly.
And so I have to be cognizant of that. And I still have a lot of work to do on myself. Okay? And I can admit that. Okay? Things trigger me. And if I don't take those 5-second breaths, there's no telling what I might do,
Right.
okay? I might burn the house
Exactly.
down. Okay, so
Right.
we need to be cognizant of our triggers, our patterns, and things that have set us off, okay?
Hmm.
Because nobody else have any clue. They like, what's the hell wrong with her? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I've been through a lot, okay? It's just like you get that bear in a trap, okay? That's the
Right.
most dangerous animal of all. You don't want to mess with that animal, okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
And, they kept poking at me at work, kept poking me at work, kept poking me. And I'm like, I see how some people can be driven to, uh, suicide or whatever, but you have to catch yourself. You have to catch yourself and say, nothing is worth that. Okay. Nothing, nothing. Because some actions we take, you can say, I'm sorry, but you can't take it back. So we
Yep.
need to take a step back, pause, and realize what we're doing before we do it because for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, okay.
There is. Yeah.
And I try to be mindful of that, okay. I'm
Yeah.
not always successful, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, neither am I. Like, so if I don't want anyone out there like listening right now think, well, he's got it all figured out and that's really cool. No, I don't think you ever really have it all figured out. So perfection is not attainable and I'll never claim to be perfect. What I can say though is, you know, it is a journey. It's a journey I'm on, and life continues to get better. And the reason why it continues to get better is because my awareness is being expanded, and I'm starting to allow other things in where I might not have done that before. And so when I said I wanted a strong woman who would call me out on my stuff, like I found her. And so you want to talk about learning through the curve? I mean, you know, so there was a lot of hurt and anxiety and challenges along the way and but she was the person I needed to help wake me up, right? No one could wake me up the way she did. And I'm grateful, like eternally grateful, because it's made me a better person. So like just when you think you can't become a better person, guess what? There'll be someone there to show you that you can. And I think that's what you're saying. It's a journey. It's an evolution. And we're constantly evolving from the time we're born to the time we take our last breath. We're in a constant state of evolution. So if we choose to be there. So if you're not evolving and expanding, you're shrinking and declining. Who wants that? I don't, you
Nobody,
know. I
nobody.
did. I did for a long time. That's all I did. I shrunk and declined, shrunk and declined. Then I wondered, why isn't my career going anywhere? Why can't I find a happy relationship? Why am I not happy at all? Like, why do things not give me any joy? And and the reason is because I was shrinking and declining. I put myself in a hole. That's it. Started getting climbing out. I could find joy in the simple things. Started, hiking. I mean, I can go for a walk at lunch and just listen to nature. I don't need to have earbuds in. I don't need to have sensory overload. I don't need to be watching TV 6 hours a day. Because that was my avoidance behavior, right? So those are things that I stopped doing. And I did that through growth. And so, I learned from some of the masters. I spent time with a couple of them personally which, really helped shape who I am. And then, here I am, I feel like I've got to a point where now I can share this in a meaningful way. And so that's what I do. And that's why I'm here talking to you, Margaret. And that's why we connected, right? Because the messaging was resonating, and I was reading what you were writing, and I'm going like, I can relate to that. I did not have a childhood like yours. I think you demonstrate tremendous courage and fortitude in being able to share that story. Uh, Mine wasn't great, but it didn't come anywhere close to what you experienced. So I'm not even going to pretend that it did. But I think, you know, childhood trauma can really lead to a lot of things in adults, and you know you even went and got your degrees, right? I mean, that was your journey to understanding and past that understanding. So it's just amazing how people find their way. So I'm so glad our paths crossed, and I think you're a remarkable person for sharing that hurt, and making it real for everyone, and then allowing us to benefit from some of your wisdom and how you overcame that.
Well, it's important because honestly, my parents told me, uh, you don't tell what's going on in your house. What you do is you take that stuff to the grave, and when you do that, uh, you taking the trauma with you, and you can never ever become the person with the potential you want to be with all of this crap you're carrying around. You have to release it. You have to let it go. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It keeps cropping up at the least given time. Okay. And yeah, it's like I got to find a way to cut the cord. Okay.
Mm.
Because it's preventing me from being my best self. Okay. In
Mhm.
many ways. Okay. So, what I do, having this avoidance behavior, I will cut you off. I will block you, delete you. Then I feel like I'm getting rid of the problem, but the problem still is percolating. It's still percolating because it's unresolved. Okay. So the best way to deal with that is to talk to the individual. Okay. Don't avoid it because it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. And, and it's hurting me
Yeah.
because it's unresolved. Just say, hey, let's have a conversation. Okay, this is where we are. This what happened. Okay, I'm sorry. Whatever. Let's move on. Okay, because it's too much things, chaos going on in the world, and
Yeah,
we need to be focused on the things we can control. Okay, because a
exactly.
lot of that stuff is that we just cannot control, and I recognize that in my work with the government. Okay, that it's just a lot of things we just have no control over. So you have to decide whether I'm going to stay or whether I'm going to go. When you weigh it up
Hmm.
on the scale, I'm like, it's not worth it. I got to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't going to get no better. You keep getting disrespected. You keep getting harassed. You keep getting punched, poked, and prodded. And there's only so much a person can take before they break. Okay.
Right.
Recognizing that, I was like, okay, I got to go. I got to go because I don't want to be a statistic. And somebody say, "Oh, well, Margaret's in jail. She's in jail. She beat somebody. And she did something." I'm like, "No, I got to go. I can't keep putting up with this." Okay, and they want you to react so they can fire you. So I'm like, "No, I got to go. I can't keep playing these games." Okay,
Yeah.
so we have to be strategically focused and on our priorities as well. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of times, I'm speaking for myself, but and just other people that I've talked to, is we tend to just eat it. We just keep taking it and taking it and taking it. And I was like clearly in that camp. Like I lived the first, 4 decades of my life thinking like my role in life was to make everybody else happy. And if I wasn't happy, suck it up, and just, be there for others. And I am still not sure how that all, and I don't really care how it all got started. Quite frankly, like I don't really feel like I need to unravel that. But um, the moment I made that shift and started putting myself first, and making sure that my cup was full, right? Then it's like you can. I know this is so cliche, and everybody says it all the time. You can't scroll the internet and not see it, but it's like so true. The moment your cup is full, you can fill so many more cups, right? But when you are constantly emptying your cup to fill others, it's just painful, and it's depressing. You will be depressed. So to me, that was a big lesson that I had to learn, and so I'm a much better son to my mom and a much better sibling to my brothers, and I'm a much better husband to my wife because my cup is full. And so I don't, I can just tip from there and go from there. But that's the thing, I spent way too much time, just sucking it up, got to suck it up, got to push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down. And then you wonder why you feel like crap. Well, hey, how much can you take? What's your point? And the reality
Yeah.
of it is, you don't have to hit your low to have a high. You can shift your life with a decision. One of the biggest things is like we just never decide to do anything different. That was me. I never made a decision. It was always a decision with a condition. I actually wrote about this last week, right? It was always a decision like, I'll do it when I have the money. I'll do it when I have, it was such a crock because I was just telling myself lies. I knew I wasn't going to do it. I was just putting a condition on it to make myself feel good. That's not a decision. A decision is, hey, I'm going to do this. And then I start taking definitive action toward it. And my words, actions, and feelings all align to that. That's a decision, right? Where there's no going back. So in 2002, when I made the decision to get help and step back from my marriage and my two young children, that was a decision, man. That was a big decision. And so, you know, you have a choice on when you make those decisions. You can shift your life at any time. And to think that you can't, you're kidding yourself. But it takes grit. And you have to know the road that you're paving because at that point you're going off the pavement, right? You're going into the ditch probably for a while and have to climb your way back out. Is that a trip you're willing to take?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Can you see
Absolutely.
what where that will lead you? And sometimes it's hard, and you're going to have crappy days, I mean, that's so you will, and you will have failure. And people sometimes don't want that, right? They think, well, I'm already in a bad way. Like, why would I want to introduce more failure into my life? And the reason why you want to introduce more failure into life is because that's where you learn. All your growth comes from failure. I've never once grown from my success. Like when I have something successful, we all feel good, right? But I never go, boy, like what did I learn by being successful? Nothing. But if I look back over what got me there and I look at the failures along the way, I'm going, oh, well, there we go. Like that's what I could take pride in. Look what you learned. Look how you shifted your life.
Absolutely. And that's why, as an employer, we need to allow our employees to fail so they can learn these valuable lessons. Okay.
You can't
I know
protect them.
people, no, no, exactly. So, at the end of the day, then you're like, wow, look what I learned. I had this aha moment. I did something that I never did before. I put myself out there. Okay. I felt uncomfortable, yet I succeeded. Okay. And that's what life's all about. We have to keep putting ourselves out there, putting ourselves out there. Okay. And, um, and from those valuable lessons, we are able to, uh, live a life of abundance. Okay. Because I started Substack last November. Okay. I was afraid to even write my hero post. Look at me today. I'm doing a collaboration. If you had told me that, I wouldn't have believed it. Okay.
Oh, when you
Because
reached out to me, like I was like, who is this woman reaching out to me? And what does go live mean on Substack? I have no idea. Like what is this go? And then we met and we chatted. And of course, we had been communicating through some notes. And I was like, oh, okay, this is like going to be a really cool experience. And
absolutely.
I that go live button is there for me. I haven't had the courage to press it yet and go live. So thank you. Right. But like you're living that, you're modeling, what you want others to learn. And I think that that's, so awesome.
When you decide to go live, if you're afraid, give me a ring. I'll go with you. You're
Yeah.
not alone.
There you go.
Okay.
I
You
think what I
got
really,
this.
yeah, I think when, the one thing that gets me is like when so for everyone that's joined in today, first of all, thank you. It's really
Yes.
nice to know that
Thank
you're
you.
spending some time with us today. So if you look back over your life, right, you of everyone that's here today with us has manifested something in their life, right? Now, I'm not talking about negative stuff. Like you've all had a goal and you went and got it. Maybe it was a new car, maybe it was getting an apartment, maybe it was completing college. We've all done it. those skill sets that you use to do that, like that's how you change your life. It's no different. So like to think that this is the part that kind of like when I had my aha moment, I was like, oh wow, so I read all these books for nothing. It wasn't that I read them for nothing. I needed a way to kind of reconnect to that. And those avenues did. But you have the power within you in this moment. You don't need a Tony Robbins, a Mike Winters, a Live Reso Intent. You could wake up right now and make a decision to shift your life. You have everything you need. Everything. You don't need anything else. And that was the one thing that was like, all it takes is a simple decision, right? So going back to that, right? It's like you decision, have an idea, make a decision, act. That's it. That's what got you anything that you've ever attained in life. If you own a home, if you, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Anything that you've attained where you look back and go, gosh, I remember when I bought that new car, like that was an amazing experience. Well, buying a new car is an amazing experience the first time. The second time is just a repeat performance, right? So,
Absolutely.
right? The big vacation to X. Oh, that's an experience. Do it a second time. It's just a repeat performance. So once you already know how to do something, you've got to kind of set the goal out there and make it even bigger. It was so funny. We had just we went on vacation back in September. My wife and I, and we got back, and I had been going to the gym like since not going to the gym, going downstairs to my downstairs gym since January, right? Because I wanted to look decent, for the meeting, the vacation rather. And so I did all this work, and I got there, and then we got home, and I was like, I had no motivation to go downstairs and work out. And I was like, what? Why am I not motivated to work out? Like I was, and the reason is because the primary motivator for me wanting to do it was gone. And so I had to go ahead and I had to set up another motivator, right? I had to put something else out there in front of me. So now, now it's more about health, maintenance, fitness, and then how can I stretch that fitness goal to the next level? So I'm trying to work through that right now. And like, what's that next goal look like? So keep in mind that, if you have something big that you create and it happens for you, then once you get past that point, you're going to kind of feel a little blue. You ever have the post vacation blues? Like, it's because you don't have another big vacation out in front of you. So like start planning that vacation right away. Start planning that next thing. The reason we're not inspired and not motivated a lot of times is just we have nothing big out in front of us. Something that scares us a little bit. The goal should be kind of big, but scare yourself a little bit. That's where the stretch is. That's where the love is. That's where the goal is. You know, Doing something you've already done is not setting a goal. It's not taking big action. It's just not. You can kid yourself and think it is, but if you've already done it before, repeat performance. Focus on something new, something you've never done before.
Absolutely. It's like if you're on a roller coaster and your stomach is
Yeah.
is turning over, that
Yeah.
means something is getting ready to explode. You're getting ready to explode. So you want to be ready. Okay. And
Why do you think they keep making bigger and faster and crazier roller coasters? Because people get tired of the ones that they're riding all the time, right? So it's the same thing, right? It's repeat performance. If you've ridden it 3 or 4 times, like you know what to expect, it loses its joy. But you have to put something bigger in front of you. I mean, I don't know how much bigger they can get without really putting people in danger, but they seem to be coming up with some pretty cool ideas. But that's you see it everywhere you look. You can see this playing out in real time. It's not something that's unique to each individual person. It's life in general. Everything is in a state of expansion. Everything is bigger and better. Everything is more, and just the technology today is, over the top, right? So we really have to manage that. But like you can either resist it or you can jump in and help, help be a part of figuring it all out.
absolutely, because with innovation, it's going to continue. Change is going to continue to happen. Adaptability, and we have to be agile. Okay. And if we don't, we're going to get left behind because everything is constantly changing. And we have to do the same thing as well. So, what can you do to uh to make this happen as far as like you're talking about incentives basically. You have this
Mhm.
incentive. If I reach this goal, then I'm going to treat myself to a steak dinner or something. You have
Right.
something to look forward to, okay?
Yeah.
So, in addition just to the goal itself, and that's what helps to keep us motivated. We have intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So for me, have intrinsically motivate myself. Okay. But if there's an exterior motivator, I'll take that too. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right. So my goal, like at work, it's like, okay, it's horrible. I can't stand it, but I am doing this so I can get to my retirement. Okay. So
Right.
we put up with a lot of crap so we can so we can do that. But then we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it? You know, is it worth it in the end? And in the end, it wasn't worth it. So that's why I walked away, because I was literally dying from that job. That
Yes.
stress was killing me.
Yep.
Okay, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I couldn't satisfy people. Okay, there was no satisfaction to be had. Okay, so I'm like, okay, let me go. So when we talk about this, we have leadership mindset and emotional energy. Okay. Every time something negative happens, I first notice it in my body. Okay. Whether it's person, whether it's a thing, I just feel it, and it feels heavy, and it feels not good. Okay. And so then I look at my intuition is telling me, and I'm looking around me, and you have to be aware of what that is. Okay. It could be a person, it could be a thing. Okay. Because it was a orchestrated thing going on at work. It was a bunch of people coming for
Mhm.
me at one time. Okay, I didn't know at first. I thought it was just the supervisor, but it was
Yeah.
a group of people. So I'm like, okay, all right, good deal. I stayed quiet until I had to speak up. Okay, because you don't want your enemy to know you're coming. You know, when they
Right.
turn around, when you turn around, then you're right there. Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to have mystery. Okay, so um, I didn't take the bait. So I left instead on my own terms, because when you're
Yeah.
going out, okay, you are an NFL player or a hockey player, you want to go out on the top of your game, okay?
Mhm.
And that's what I was going to do. You know, even though they didn't recognize my existence when I walked out the door, okay, that's okay. I recognize myself, okay?
Right.
And we have to get internal validation instead of external validation, because will you know, people are out for themselves. Okay. At the end of the day, it's just you. You're alone. Okay.
Yeah.
So conserving our energy, okay, and keeping this leadership mindset, okay, because we need to lead by example. Okay.
We do.
So absolutely. No matter how angry I got, okay, I just walk around the building five or six times, let that cold air hit me, come back in the building. It's like, okay, here we go. What games you guys want to play now?
Now that I'm calm, I've walked it off. I think one of the
Okay.
things that you mentioned though that was really interesting is we all have this, right? It's our intuition, right? Our we have it's like one of the higher faculties, right? So you have your five senses, and many of us spend a lot of time experiencing the world through our five senses, and your five senses, if you think about it, are reactionary, right? You hear
Yes.
something, you touch something, you smell something, you see something, right? So that so when you start using your intuition, now that's an inside out thing, right? Because now I'm intuitive. I'm sensing your energy. I'm getting a vibe. I love the word the vibe. What's the vibe? Well, the vibe is well, like where's that come from? That's your intuition, right? That's your intuition talking to you. Your perception of things, your memory, your will. All of these are higher faculties that we really don't exercise enough in leadership or in life. We tend to experience life through our five senses, which is fine if you're on a roller coaster or you're on vacation. But when you're thinking about moving yourself forward through life and creating a different life for yourself or taking on a big challenge, you need those higher faculties to guide you. You can't, because as you start to move forward and change, people will resist you. Bob Proctor said, uh, people don't resist change, they resist being changed. And I love that. I love that. And when you start to change, the people around you think that you're trying to change them. And you're not. You're just trying to change you, and they don't like it. And they won't like it. They'll get there, but they will resist in the beginning, and you have to be strong enough to kind of move yourself through that. So think about how you use your higher faculties. Change will never happen from the outside in. No one's going to come to you and say X. I love people like they play the lottery like it's going to solve all their problems. It's not. It's just going to magnify them, right? Money's a magnifier. Um, so we need to think about that. And when you think about leadership in general, like I love what you said about that, right? It's understanding around it. It's using those higher faculties, and it's taking yourself out of situations that are, caustic, and putting yourself in situations aren't, and giving yourself a chance to calm down so you can respond as a leader and not react as a leader, right? So you could have reacted and lost your mind and probably went off on everybody, but what's that going to solve? But no, you walk around the building 5 times and come back in and go, okay, what's it going to be now? Like that's responding, right? That's centering yourself and responding. It's coming from a position of strength versus a position of reaction. When you're reacting, you're weak. When you go into reaction, you're coming from a position of weakness because you've given the power away to people around you or things around you. When you respond, you come from a position of strength. It might not feel that way. I'm going to acknowledge that. Usually it does not. But when you come from a position of response and you're coming from a position of inside out, you come from a position of strength. And people will not always like the way that feels for them either. But it's a very powerful place to be because you're centered and you're in control of what? How your emotions, your reactions. Uh, Now, I'm not going to sit here and profess to you I got it all figured out because I do not. There are things that sometimes will just push my button and I go totally into reaction mode. I think the difference
That's
is,
me.
right? When do you catch yourself, right? So there's three phases of understanding that I like to refer to. One is learning, knowing, and owning, right? So learning is I read this book, I listened to Mike and Margaret. Okay, I learned something new today, maybe I didn't have before. That's learning. Knowing is, oh, I'm in reaction mode. I don't know how to stop it, so I'm going to go off on this person anyway. But at least, or I post game it and I go, oh, I reacted. Gosh darn, I got to stop reacting. Owning it is when you're in the moment, you catch yourself and you just shut it down in the moment, right? So three phases of learning. It could take weeks or months sometimes, right? It's about repetition and practicing and practicing. So don't, we are so hard on ourselves. Like we are just so hard on ourselves. Like we expect to master something in a day. And the people that are at the top of their game, and Margaret, I think you even alluded to this, like you talk about hockey players, football players, they didn't get to the top of their game by tossing the ball around the backyard for a couple of days a week, right? They got to the top of their game by investing hundreds of thousands of hours in time. So if you're going to invest time in getting yourself to a different place and living a bigger life and expanding your level of awareness and attracting more wealth and abundance into your life, understand it's going to take time. And that's okay. It's all we got. It's the only commodity we have. It's it. At the end of the day, all you have is time. Everything else is moot. Oh, but I don't have the money. So what? Um, I was doing a seminar. This is like way back, many, many years ago. We were doing a workforce development seminar it was during one of the recessions, and I was working for a small consulting company. And so we have all these people in a room. And what we tend to do when something bad happens, we tend to hoard and hold on to everything, right? And not let it go. When sometimes that's the best thing you can do is to let things go, right? And just like let them move out of your life. But there was this one gentleman in the back and he was really quiet and he raised his hand. He says, I really want to become like a psychologist. And we're going, so what's stopping you? He goes like, well, I don't have any money for school. I can't go to college. And so I thought for a minute and I looked at him and I said, do you have access to a library? And he's like, yeah. I go, why can't you go to a library today and check out a book on psychology and start reading it? And do that every week for a year and start saving. So when you go to college, guess what? You're practically a psychologist by the time you go to college, right? Like there's always something you can do. There's always something. When you think there's nothing, then you know what? You're just not thinking about it the smart way because there's always something that you can do to move yourself forward. And I challenge anybody to prove me wrong. And you know what? They can't. They can't. There's always something you can do. And so I don't know if I changed that young man's life or not, but he was like, wait, I can, right? Sometimes we just can't see it. And that's awareness, right, Margaret?
Absolutely.
That's aware. We can't see it because we haven't kind of moved ourselves into a position to be able to see it. So that's why you have to take action. The moment you start taking action, your awareness increases. And so some things that might have been blinders on before, all of a sudden you go, oh wait, like this is over here. I think I can do that, or I think I can do this. I mean, the first time I posted my article, my first one, I was a nervous wreck. And I'm like, why? Who cares? But like pressing that enter button was like, it took me 20 minutes. And here we are.
See? Absolutely. Doing the hard things get us to where we want to be. Okay.
But why is that so
Because
hard, right? It's just a button.
well, part of it is the inner critic. Okay.
Right.
Who wants to be criticized and said, okay, this is not good or whatever? Most times this thinking is warped thinking. Okay. Because you have all these skills, you have all these gifts, okay, that brought you to this point, okay, which you should be considered a success, okay. I went through that, okay. I had to have somebody else come to me and say, Margaret, you can do this, okay. Somebody with power came and told me I could do it, and I like, okay, I'll do this, and look at me today, okay. Baby steps, baby steps. That's it.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. And fortitude. So like when we talk about change being an inside job, right? Coming from the inside out. That means when you're faced with a moment of courage, like, clicking the mouse button to send your little article out into the ether and hope someone reads it, you've got to have the intestinal fortitude to push through that. And the only thing that's going to carry you through is your vision, right? Your feelings,
Right.
your words, and your actions. Like that's all you have, but that is all you need. That's all you
And with
need.
and with that being said, positive self-talk to yourself, okay?
Yes.
Not I'm not nothing or I can't do this or whatever. Say, I got this, okay? I have the skills, I have the knowledge and the desire and the passion to do this because I am helping other people. I'm helping to bless other people and bring them to where they want to be. And with that being said, push the button. Push the
Yeah.
button, okay?
I was I was talking with someone the other day. We were having a conversation and they were like, you talk about negative self-talk, right? And I just paused. I said, look, I said, show me where it's written that you're not worthy of what you want to accomplish. Like, where is it written down? Is it on the internet somewhere? Did someone put it in you're like, where is it written that you are unable to accomplish what you want to accomplish? Show me the evidence that you are not capable. Show me the evidence that you're not worthy. Show me the evidence that you're the worst person on the face of the earth. Where's the evidence? And usually when confronted with having to prove it, we can't. You know why? Because we made the damn story up in our brain. We made it, it's all up here. We make up stories about things every day. And that's what holds us
Well,
back. It's a narrative,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. But my father told me I was crazy and I wasn't going to never be nothing. So I said, that gave me the fuel. I was like, I have to prove him wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have to prove him wrong because who is he to tell me this? Okay.
Right.
That's not true. But we have to keep telling ourselves every time something comes up, that is not true. Ask yourself, is it true? And if you
Right.
say no, then keep moving forward. Attention to what your body is telling you. Your body is going to tell you, no, you do this instead, and your intuition. Okay, listen to your body and your intuition. They will never leave you astray. Every time I don't listen to my intuition, I end up in a bad situation. I like, okay, well, I'm gonna give that situation the benefit of the doubt or whatever. It always end up like my intuition says. So from now on, I'm gonna listen to my intuition, and I don't care what happens. Okay,
Yeah. That's a
that's it.
wonderful self check. Is it true? I love that. That's a different spin on it. I love that. Yeah, it's because that's all right. It's just you have to validate it because usually we get ourselves all spun up inside and we're telling ourselves stories that aren't even true. It's like worst case scenario. You ever meet one of those people like they always give you the worst case scenario? Like, I don't want to do this because like, what if we get into an accident? What I'm like, holy crap, what if we get into an accident? We're just driving from here to there. Like it's gonna be fine. Like, that's not even real. We make up the story. if you're going to make it look, if you're going to spend that much time thinking of all the negative things that can happen, here's the real result, right? The law of polarity suggests that the equal and opposite can happen. So you even said it earlier, right? So if we could get there in record time and at warp speed, right? We could live a much better life than a really crappy life. We have the choice. How do you want to look at it? You can expend a lot of energy making it all negative, or you can look for the positive. We operate on a law of polarity. We operate on a continuum, right? So if something is bad, a little bad, it's a little good. If it's a lot bad, it's going to be a lot good. So when you walk through hell, right? And we've all done
Yes.
it, and that's a deep hole. Well, just think when you come out of that, how much higher you're going to go because you have all this new knowledge and wisdom. We don't think about it like that. And it takes time to learn how to do that. So you take your small wins, right? Start small, baby steps, because those baby steps lead to the bigger ones. I know we're getting close on time, but I mean, I could probably talk to you guys all afternoon, but it's like it's just it's not easy, but it's not hard
Not at
either.
all. Not at all. Listen to your intuition, listen to your body, okay? Because your mind can give you all kind of negative things, and it's not true. So, and your heart as well, okay? And bring all these things together, okay? So did you have anything else to say, Michael? Because we can talk forever, and I wanted to be
I know we
respectful of
could.
everybody's
Unfortunately, I
time.
cannot. But Live Reso Intent, that's my Substack handle. You can find me there. Please check it out. Leave a comment, leave feedback. I mean, I would love feedback. You always ask for feedback. No one wants to give you feedback. Like, I don't care if someone reads me and says it stinks. It's okay. It's okay with me. Just tell me how you can make it better too. But no, I'm working on a book, but I don't anticipate that coming out until sometime in 2026. That'll be based on a lot of what my writings are. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful every day for where I'm at and what I've accomplished and the learnings I've had. Margaret, I'm grateful for you for being interested and something clicked with you and for being the courageous one and reaching out and setting up some time to go live with me today. It's been an honor and I'm really humbled. And so thank you with much gratitude.
And same for you, Michael. I really appreciate our connection, and I'm glad to walk the journey with you. I'm honored to walk this journey with you. And if you need something, you decide you want to go live, and you need somebody to be there for moral support,
First
you can
call.
reach out. Okay, I got you. I got you.
First call.
Okay, I didn't see any actual questions. I just seen some comments. Talk live stream with America says, "Stop being afraid to make mistakes. Success is typically followed after we make mistakes. Most call this experience, lived experience. Absolutely, absolutely. As we know, there's a lot of trial and errors. Okay, in life, and that's where the magic happens. Okay." Michael,
Fantastic.
thank you. Thank you so much for doing this live. And I got a lot out of it. And I hope that everyone
Likewise.
else did
Thank you
too.
too.
Thank you.
I did
Thank you
too.
so much.
Absolutely. Bye
Thank
now.
you. All right, bye-bye. Bye.